Right, grade 11s, we're going to be looking at Boyle's law experiment. And the purpose of the experiment is to determine the relationship between the pressure and the volume of a fixed mass of gas at constant temperature. Remember, when you're looking at the relationship between two things, then only those two things can be changed. And so the temperature needs to be kept constant, and also we've got a fixed mass of gas. So Boyle's law experiment is this, the apparatus. Inside here we've got, if you look carefully, you'll see that at the top of the tube it looks as if it's clear because there's a gas in the tube. And then at the bottom there is this red substance, which is an oily substance. So then when I increase the pressure using the bicycle pump, when I increase the pressure on this side, what happens is it pushes the oil up and then it does something to the volume of the gas. Alright, now we already know that the relationship is an inverse proportion. So if you increase the pressure, what should happen is the volume should decrease. So that part of the experiment we already know. Right, so the precautions are that you need to keep the temperature constant. The other thing is you'll also notice that when you increase the pressure, what happens is we can read the pressure on this little pressure gauge, and you will see that what happened is the volume increased. The volume of the gas decreased. Alright, and so at a pressure of 100, what is the volume? Then we'll increase the pressure and we'll see what happens to the volume. Each time we take a reading, what we need to do is just wait a little bit because of friction between the particles of gas in that tube. When you increase the pressure, it could cause the temperature to rise a little bit. So what you want to do is just wait a minute before you take a reading so that the temperature then can just go back to what it should be. The other thing as well is that this is an oily substance, so every time you increase the pressure and the level of the oil rises, what you've also then got to do, just wait a minute or two for the oil level to settle so that when you're reading it, you actually give it a chance to give you an accurate reading. Right, so very simply, increase the pressure. What happens to the volume of the gas inside the tube? And you can see that the relationship is an inverse proportion. As the pressure is increased, what is happening to the volume of the gas inside is it's decreasing. And now what I will do is I will post a couple of readings of 100, 200, 300, and what you need to do is then put those readings into a table. Now the table should have the headings pressure, volume, the inverse of the volume, 1 over volume, and PV. And then don't forget that you need to include a unit in which each of those are measured. And then you'll also see in your experiment you need to do 2 graphs. And the graphs are going to be a pressure versus volume graph. And again, don't forget that a table or a graph has a heading and the axes need to be labeled and there need to be units on the axes and things like that. And then also the second graph is one of pressure versus the inverse of volume. And here are the pressure volume readings that you need to take down and then complete the table so that you can complete the rest of the experiment.